I want you to think about difficulty in games and how often hard mode is associated with enemies whose health bars are so long that it will take you a lifetime to defeat them. Okay, I'm exaggerating here, but even though it isn't as long as a lifetime, it certainly feels like one. And the other way a game would deliver its hardest challenge is by resorting to the oldest trick in the book, adding more enemies, especially to boss fights, and calling it a day. I mean, they might also ridiculously increase the damage dealt by your enemies while making sure that the damage you deal is the equivalent of being hit on the head by a rubber duck. So basically, the encounters are still going to feel like an eternity. As someone always seeking difficulty in games, always looking for la crème de la crème, not because I'm a weirdo who takes pleasure in experiencing pain, but rather because I think this is the best way to experience games and, more importantly, have a good look at the type of AI developers have implemented in their games. I have grown tired of hard mode in games for the reasons I stated before. It is simply uninspired and lazy. Often a game ends up being more tedious than challenging since people can't figure out the difference between the two. Evidently, I came to accept the fact that this was going to be the new normal in gaming, until Sifu said otherwise. If you are one of those people who played the game when it released, then you know that it launched with only one difficulty option, the Disciple one. At the time, the difficulty was enough for the game to be compared to Dark Souls, and you know your game is hard when someone compares it to Dark Souls. However, 3 months after launch, Sloclap released their first major title update, and along with it, the Master Mode. Now, at the time, I was a seasoned Sifu player, or rather, I want to think I was. So as I was saying, I had mastered many aspects of the game and eagerly dived into that new game mode expecting to kick ass. And well, there was some ass kicking alright, but just not the ass I thought. Remember this guy? This is Fajar, also known as the mute, cold-blooded child murderer, and he is the very first boss you will fight in the game. Now, the thing is, he has always been the easiest boss and he was even considered to be a joke. I don't know how they did it, but they managed to turn this joke into a nightmare in the Master Mode. And in case you don't know the difference between the two difficulties, Disciple and Master, in the latter, you have slightly less health and structure, which means that you won't get far by simply blocking since your structure breaks faster thanks to enemies being more aggressive. But having less health doesn't automatically translate to your ass being kicked, since you're supposed to be familiar with your skills and the enemy patterns. So why did Fajar look like he spent 2 years training in the hyperbolic time chamber? Well, Sloclap gave him and the other bosses some new moves. To summarize, you had the same number of enemies, they were just more aggressive and potentially had slightly more health and structure, but the main change was happening with the bosses. It is such a simple trick, but executed with perfection. So Fajar went from being the doormat to making you call him daddy, and Kuroki, she had an internship at the NBA because now she fakes you, performs crossovers and dashes for the kill. Grandma Jinfeng, we don't hesitate to bonk some sense into you, and Big Bro Yang is deadier, sharper and faster. And when it comes to Shan, well, we don't talk about Shan. Long story short, with the introduction of the Master difficulty, I felt as though I was playing the game for the very first time, and I loved that feeling. With the arenas dropping next month, I'm confident Sifu will find yet another way to blow us away. Somehow that indie studio managed to do something even AAA studios with unlimited resources couldn't figure out. They made hard mode fun, challenging and light years away from being tedious. That's what happens when you care and put some thought into making a game. And fun fact, it took me exactly 27 minutes to beat the game while speedrunning in the Disciple difficulty, and guess what, it took me 27 minutes to do the same thing in the Master difficulty. So even though everything changed, really nothing did. Sifu didn't win Game of the Year, but it certainly won our hearts. I'm Jisoo, thank you for watching this video, and in case you want to see me get destroyed by Fajar, feel free to click on this video. Peace.